Good morning, everybody. How are we all on this glorious Sunday morning or Saturday evening, wherever we are in the world? Welcome to today's live stream. Oh, should I have started really? Hi, it's Garry. A few more comments about that this week. A lot of people like hearing that, which really tickles me to hear because it's lovely getting feedback like that of what people like. Yeah, I'm hearing myself, so I definitely know that I've got not volume. I've got sound coming out. Starting to go a bit nippy here now over in Western Australia, which is nice. Nippy as in it's 18 degrees Celsius, so it's still quite warm. So it's been quite an interesting week. Let's jump into the comments. We've got a couple of comments coming through already. If you're watching live, don't forget we've got the live chat there. Drop any comments in there. What I aim to do is go through every single comment that's added and so I acknowledge everything and hope, some of them lead to some quite good conversations. Oh, sorry. Nearly choking myself. If you're watching on replay, drop a comment down below. Again, I respond to every single comment. I love to interact with people. Blonde Scales 1, good evening from Arkansas. Welcome to you. Just making sure. Yep, we're appearing there. BJ, hello everybody. Ricardo, good morning. Margaret Marshall, good morning. I like hearing your intro. Thanks. I'll say I love hearing that feedback. It's brilliant to hear. Blonde Scales 1, eagerly awaiting a recently ordered pen. I bet you are. I've started now searching around for my next pen. I've got my budget set. Obviously not going to be the same level as my Visconti Homo sapiens. I'd love to have that sort of money again. But looking around, thinking of an Australian handmade pen again at the moment. Just not sure. I've seen a maker, I think I showed it a couple of weeks ago on Instagram, called Ron Carey. He has a few pens up for sale, but none that really grabbed me, so I'm watching him intently to see if anything comes up that I really like the look of. Again, I tend to buy pens because I like the look of them. To be honest, functionally, most of them now are the same. Ricardo, nippy indeed. 8 Celsius here in London. Wow, I bet it is. I bet that's. I think we maybe go down to maybe 7 or 8 in the middle of winter. I don't think I could live in 8 Celsius nowadays. ODE, welcome from hello from Portugal. Welcome to you, ODE. Blonde Scales 1, I figure 2 to 4 weeks. Ricardo, Bom dia / good morning, Paolo. BJ, down to freezing here as well. I couldn't cope with freezing. I know, when we used to live in the UK, you're used to it. But over here, because we've been here that long now, 18 degrees, and I'm starting to think, shall I get my long trousers out? Because it's getting cold in the morning. Let me just refresh the comments, and then we'll get into today's talking point. Get the right thing. Don't you love technology? If you don't press the right button, you don't get the right result. So that's all the comments so far. We'll come back to them in a second. So today what I thought we'd do is we'd do another pen tray. This is where we look at what's in one of my pen trays. We've been doing it for a while, so what we're going to do is essentially start from scratch. Rather than ask for input, what I've done is up on the screen now, we've got random.org. So this gives a random number. And I've said the numbers between 1 and 20. So I'm going to start on the left-hand side with number 1. 1 to 10 on the left. So that's 11 to 20 on the right. Whatever number random.org comes up with, that's the tray we'll look at. So hitting generate now. Number 19. That was easy to get at. Oh, it's going to be a quick one. There's only 3 pence in this tray. I might be able to add a 4th one. Let me get it. Where is it? Oh no, we won't. The 4th one we'll be talking about in a bit anyway. So let's go back to cameras. We'll go to the overhead camera. No, that's the intro camera. There we go. Hopefully I get the right one. So this tray is labelled China. So these are miscellaneous pens from China. Ones where, I maybe only have one or two from a particular maker. So like all the rest of them, we've got the lovely lining that my wife made. This is my Star Wars line. We've got Chewbacca there, C-3PO. Got a random Stormtrooper. We've got Yoda, Darth Vader. Love that she did all these for me. So we're going to start off with this. Let me move the tray out of the way because it makes it easier to see the pen. Running out of desk space, I'll put it over here. Don't forget, keep adding your comments to the live chat. I will come back to that in a second. So the first pen in that tray, this is by Fully Wen, and this is the Fully Wen 019. First Fully Wen pen I've got. I do have another one, which is in my inked up tray, which is the 2062, I think it was. Very small pen, a bit like a pocket pen. Love the resin on this. There's loads of different resins you can get, but I think this one's quite pretty. Does look quite busy, but it's not too bad. I've just noticed there's still that comment on there. Let me hopefully remove the comment. There we go. Nib on this. There we go. This is a medium nib. Let me see if I can fix it up there for a bit of luck. This is a cartridge converter. Very smooth nib. Lovely writer. Because it's so busy, I don't often ink it up. I think I need to get this into the rotation again soon. This is a beauty about doing these. I get to think about some of the pens that aren't in rotation. The next pen, this is by Asvine, and this is the V169. So vacuum filling pen. This is in the, I want to call it like an aqua blue, like a greeny bluey colour. I love this metal frame on here. It feels very nice. If I unscrew the piston cap, I can draw this out. Nice thing with a vacuum cleaner when it's a vacuum cleaner. Wow, my brain has gone funny, hasn't it? Nice thing with a vacuum pen, when it's got no ink in it, you can actually show it and demonstrate it. So I think most people know how a vacuum filler works, but you pull it out. As you're pushing down the piston, it feels tough because what you're doing is you're creating vacuum behind it. Then when it gets down to, it's just about to pop now, when it gets down near the bottom, the inside of the barrel opens up ever so slightly, which releases the vacuum that's behind it. And in releasing that vacuum, obviously something's got to fill it in. So as long as your nib's in ink, it will draw the ink up into the barrel. Then what I do, I then tend to take it out again, turn it upside down like this, push it up again until the ink is nearly at the top, then pop it in the ink and take that last little step. I generally find to get a little bit more ink in that way. This is beautiful nib. Absolutely love this nib. I can't remember if this is a medium or a broad. Let me just pull up my database. I'll just have a quick check. Just fetching that up over on the iPad. So we want Asvine V169. And it's a medium nib, but it's a very, very wet, generous nib. There we go. So that's the Asvine V169. I do have another Asvine pen, we'll see it shortly, which is the P20. That's in my current writing rotation. Next up, we've got a Bauer. I can never remember which one this is. I've got two Bauers. We're going to look at both of them. This is... why haven't I got any pictures on them? Anyway, this is the Bauer 51. Another Chinese pen, obviously. Cartridge converter, this one. There's a converter. In fact, I think I've only used this once. It's another pen I need to get out and use again. I mean, it was relatively inexpensive. It was under 10 Aussie dollars. We've got a 51 with... this has got the fine nib on it. There we go. I do like this check pattern. Looks quite nice. I think this is meant to be on a clone of some other pens. I like the fact if you're posting it that the end screws on. So that's nice and solid. Posted, it actually feels quite nice. Unposted is a little bit on the short side for me, but very thin as well there in the section. So that's Bauer 51, which means the last pen from the tray, because there was only 4, this is the Bauer 79. Different looking pen, isn't it? I love the stripes and I love the silver. The black, where we've got these stripes, when I'm looking at it, certainly like today where I've got my desk lights on and I've actually got all my windows are open, so there's a lot of sunshine coming through. That black seems to virtually disappear. Cap pulls off. Again there we've got sorry, the guy over the back has just started doing some DIY. Anyway, we've got the converter there, and then we've got a medium nib on this one. Hopefully you can see that one. Again, same issue with it. The section does feel quite thin. Nice and comfy, this one unposted. It will post. Doesn't post very well though. It posts on just onto the silver part here. Does feel back heavy though to me. Hopefully my mic is isolating this out quite well. Let's pop that back on. Let's pop this back in the tray. So yeah, got plenty of slots in there to fill up. Close this up. So that's what's in my pen tray. Let me move on over and we'll go through some more comments. Let me just refresh the screen. Blonde Scales 1. We had one last night this past week. We hit freezing, winter's last gasp. It is. It's summer's last gasp here. It's nice, to be honest, because we're not having to have the fans on all the time. You know, the past, 3.5, maybe 4 months, we've had to have fans on virtually all the time. Sorry. Today's mug, by the way, it's Spider-Man, and I'm on peppermint tea at the moment. Margaret Marshall, I love seeing your wife's crafting. I look forward to seeing them. Yeah, she's awesome. You'll see this not for another week and a bit, but this a preview. This is the pen roll that she's made for the month of April. So this is Batman, the Caped Crusader. Trying something different this time. I do show it when I do, but what we've got is like a button with a loop. So trying a different way of fastening it, just to see how that goes. She's experimented quite a lot with these, which is really good. But yeah, she's. I often refer to her as being the crafty cow, and she does know I say that. I wouldn't anything that I say about her, I do tell her. I know some people. I know we had one person, evil woman she is, really evil. She used to take great pleasure if I said anything. She would ring my wife and say, "Yeah, he said this about you," and my wife would say, "Yeah, you should hear what I say about him." But no, anything we say about each other, we tell. We don't hold back. And there's nothing I would say that I wouldn't say to her face. Blonde Scales 1. I'm not looking forward to fan season. I don't know. I do like my fan. This is a weird thing. I like to complain about the heat, but it is nice. It's just can get a little bit too much at times. You have to excuse my eyes. My eyes are watering still suffering with some kind of allergy. So that's affecting my eyes terrible. My son again the other day came in. My eyes were having a bad day. It literally looked like I'd gone. This will age me. It looked like I'd gone 10 rounds with Mike Tyson. Both my eyes were just covered by this massive black rings where it's just so sore. Looked like it's been punched. One Mr. Gunman, cheers from Pennsylvania. Welcome to you. Let me just refresh the comments. And then we've got Ted Smith. Hello from Seattle. Welcome to you, Ted. Okay. After last week when we went really long, this week we're going so super fast. Okay, let's move on over back to the phone camera. We'll look at the pens I've been using this week. Now the first few may be empty because I did write out a number of pens this week. So the first one, this is what I started out the week with when I was doing my replies. Do you know what I should do? Let's fetch out this. This is the booklet that I use when I'm doing my daily quote videos. So let's go back to the start of the week, which was this one, 17th. So that pen I started up here, the Monteverde Ritmer. So this is the pen I was using to write these replies with. So in that video, what I do is I use two pens. My pen of the day, which is where I write the quotes, and then I have a second pen that, you know, the aim is to use it just for a maximum of a week. That's what I write my replies with. And this time it was the Monteverde Ritmer. Beautiful olive green colour there. And this one's a cartridge converter. I've cleaned all my pens out. I'm going to take an aside here. I'm going to have to go back to the camera. I saw on that pen bloke, he did a video, a short, an Instagram reel, is it, or whatever, and he showed that he got this from Coles, and I thought, yeah, I've got to get one of those. So when we were in Coles, they had some, so I got one. Sorry a minute. Along with the eyes, the nose is going. So if I'm going to go back to the overhead camera now, I've just moved that book out, everything out of the way. So what this is actually a dishwashing tray, but it's perfect for pens. I'm going to use this Ritmer as an example. If I take the body off, so I clean out the body, it just stands on there. Clean out the cap, just stands on there. Converter, once it's cleaned out, that went in here. What I try to do is angle it a bit. Then the section, some of them will stand on these, that one will. Others won't, so then I'll stand them up here. So that I can then go along there with 4 pens. But then the rest of the tray I can also use, so if, let's go and pretend we're using here. So I can stand these up, then the converter just lies there. I thought it was brilliant. And yes, it was that pen bloke I saw. And when I saw that, I thought to myself, yeah, I've got to get one of those. And luckily in our local Coles, they had one when we went in there. Just putting this pen back together. That was a little bit of an aside. But yeah, really handy. So that was the Monteverde Ritmer. Next up, we've got a pen which does have some ink in it. So that Monteverde Ritmer ran out. So I replaced it with this. This is the Leonardo Momento Magico in Miele, M-I-E-L-E, which I think is honey. I might be wrong there. Piston filling pen, lovely wide ink window, broad nib, broad Leonardo nib, and this is a steel nib. So we've got here a Leonardo Momento Magico. This has got that broad nib. Cost for the pen, $272. I didn't mention it, the cost for the Monteverde Ritmer, 92 Aussie dollars. The ink, this is one of the Inkvent inks, so it's Diamine, and it's Candlelight. Now that I've nearly finished all my ink samples, my next plan is to try and empty out all the small Inkvent inks. And I thought, yeah, this actually looks like quite a nice match. Looks really well together as well. So that's the Leonardo Momento Magico. So again, I was using that for responses. Up next, we come to the daily pens. So we start with Sunday of last week. That's that pen bloke fountain pen. And this is something special, is the material. And it is something special, I tell you. There's the converter. Love this material, this resin. It's resin, it's not wood. Very, very nice, really attractive. Got loads of different colours in there. It's one of my longer handmade pens. I love it. I love the length. Feels really comfortable. Section's really nice. The only issue, biggest issue I have with it, I do keep it in. I was just reaching over. I do keep it in here. I'm going to pop it in here so you can actually see. So this is a pen tray from Gale and Leather. So here's its. No, that's not. Here's its slot. Don't know if you can see, but it doesn't fit in properly. So it's slightly standing out at the top, which is a shame because, you know, it in a way it spoils the symmetry. But I don't care. The pen is beautiful. The lid goes on, so it doesn't really matter. And as I quickly showed earlier on, that had Robert Oster Rye Green in it. And here's the writing that we had from there. So the next pen, this is Just Turnings. Again, no ink left in this one. This is the Enceladus model. 190 Aussie dollars when I bought it. This is a matte finish and it's a Brutz Blanks. It's called Elvenwood. Absolutely beautiful. Very pretty pen. Again, we're talking cartridge converter. He says loads of threads on there. There's the converter. Nib on this is a number 6 nib. It's a Cypress nib. The nib on that Pen Bullock one was a Yoho Broad. There we go. Hopefully you can see the nib there. Nice fit in the hand. Feels very, very comfortable. The writing. So let me just fetch this in. What I've started doing with this notepad, because it's cheap paper, get a lot of show through. So I'm not using alternate, I'm like skipping pages, just so that we don't get that show through. So here we go, Just Turnings Enceladus. In there I had Robert Oster Aussie Brown. Beautiful shading ink. Let me just double check. Yeah, I'm going to film tomorrow my ink comparison for April. And the two inks I'm actually going to do is Aussie Brown and Cafe Creme. I'm going to do like a little showdown between them in terms of just the ink, because that Aussie Brown has really grown on me over this past month. So that was the Just Turnings Enceladus. We take a big change now and we go to the Jinhao X159. This is in the dark blue colour. Nice chunky pen. Love the chunkiness of this. It's got a nice length to it. Love the width. I have a touch of arthritis in my fingers and thumb, so I find this extremely nice to use. It's got that number 8 size nib. This is a fine nib, and it is a fine nib. And then we've only got a little bit of ink left in there. So this, chances are, will get emptied out during the week. So we've got here a Jinhao X159 with a fine nib. Price wise, I'd say a bit of a difference. It's 12 Aussie dollars. The ink is Noodlers Navajo Turquoise. Very nice, attractive blue colour. Oh, well, turquoise, but to me, you know, I'm a bloke. Turquoise, blue, the same thing. Quite nice, though. Quite like this. Next pen was the Jinhao 82. So this was the pen I was using the day after its first impressions came out. So this was what I was using on Monday. This is the transparent version. I do have a couple of other Jinhao 82s that I will be doing first impressions on in different colours. Not for a while there. So we got here the converter. The ink in this hardly seems to use any ink when I'm writing with it. Seems to last and last and last. But it is a fine nib. I actually quite like this transparent colour. Unposted, very small. Post-it, actually not too bad. I'm planning to record a video in the next few weeks looking at this and comparing it with a Sailor Pro Gear Slim, because I think they're very, very similar. So we've got a fine nib on here. There we go. I love the two-tone nibs. I think they look really nice. So we've got here a Jinhao 82 with, I said it's fine. I think it might not be. Yeah, it's not. It's a medium nib. Although I think it's more like a Japanese style medium, so it looks a little bit on the fine side to me. $6 though, which isn't bad. The ink is by Twisby, and it's red. To me, it doesn't look overly red, which is actually quite nice. So it's quite, I want to say different. But yeah, it's really nice. More like, not quite a pocket pen, but certainly getting down towards a pocket pen. And I may try using it as a pocket pen for a while. Next is, Next is a pen that I just threw on the floor. I'm just going to do this. There's not a lot of ink left in this. I'm hoping I've got enough because I'm planning on recording a video with this tomorrow. This is the Asvine P20. So this is a piston filling pen. And not only that, it's got an ink window. It's not very wide, but it's wide enough to be useful. I do like the ink window on the Magico. Very pretty. Lots of people have been saying about all the resins in this model or in this range. They're really nice. I've only got the one P20. I do intend to get some more, but it's like everything. It's got to be a resin that really jumps out at me if I'm going to buy one. We've got on here an Asvine nib, and this one is a medium. I don't think this is as wet as I see on that V169 though. That's the only thing I'll say. Very reminiscent of the Leonardo Momento Zero. The video I'm going to record tomorrow is actually going to compare this with, well, what is the next pen, which is a Majon M800, and also the Leonardo Momento Magico, with a little appearance from my Leonardo Momento Zero Grande. So this is the Asvine P20 with a medium nib. Price wise, we do go up in price to 44 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Diamine. It's Glacier, which is that Starbright ink. Let's just do that. Give that a second, so we'll come back to this after the next pen. Move this up a bit. Oh, let me just. I've just realised I'm forever doing this. Leaving the comments on the screen. Hopefully that'll go now. What I should do really is actually turn this. Let me make a note. No, I won't. I'll go and do it now. I will hide the channel chat from this particular view. So the next pen, as I said earlier, this is the Majon or the Moonman M800. This is the green version. I have all four colours of this. Still, after about nearly 3 and a bit years, one of my favourite Chinese pens. Really love it. I have swapped the nib. So the nib on here, this is a Goulet broad nib, so it's a Yoho nib. And this is a cartridge converter. I don't know what it is. There's just something about the shape, the size, the overall looks. Really is an attractive pen. So this is the Majon. Now this is one of the issues I have. It does get a hard start, but then I normally a couple of shades like that, and then it's writing, and then it writes fine. Don't have any problems with it. So it doesn't like being left. So broad nib. So if I leave it, I say just a couple of shakes, that'll get it going. Price for this pen. So I've just recently rechecked the prices. You get them for about 40 Aussie dollars. Now, obviously here I've got a different nib on, so add another $15-ish for the nib. The ink is by Robert Oster. It's Ride Green. I've been right into this ink recently. I think I've gotten about 3 or 4 pens at the moment. Very nice green, nice bright, not overpowering, but I just think it's a really attractive green colour. And it does well with this. So that's the Majon M800. We've fetched this up just so we can look here at that Diamine Glacier. Not sure if the camera's catching it. Loads and loads of that silver Starbright there that comes through. The way it catches the light is very difficult to catch on camera, but in person, absolutely beautiful. So the next pen, this was the last pen of the week, This is the pen I love to hate, the TWSBI Draco. These last few pens, they're actually in my lineup for April, so you'll see more of them coming up soon. Same with this one. Love the colouring on this. It's a piston filling pen. Hate the ink window. The ink window, I'll go more about it in my intro for April. Yeah, next to useless. The nib, again, love writing with this nib. Lovely nib. It's rose gold coloured. It's not rose gold, it's steel. There we go. Just looks too small. I wish it was a number 6 nib. The nib looks out of proportion to the pen for me. So we've got here a TWSBI Draco. This has got a broad nib. 215 Aussie dollars. Not sure how much they cost now because you can only get them on the second-hand market. And the ink is by Diamine. And it's red dragon. Dragon ink for a dragon pen. And given it's the year of the dragon, all matches up at the moment. So that was the TWSBI Draco. They were the pens that I've been using this week. Let's switch back to the camera. And we got a load more comments. Let me just move my bit of paper out of the way. Sorry, excuse me for a minute. So, Blonde Scales 1. Just Turning's got a bunch of new pen blanks this week. Yeah, he's been putting them up. I know on one of his posts, if you go to his website, he's now got a website. You can actually go to the, I can't remember if it's special orders, but anyway, you can go and actually pick the ones that you want. And I believe some of the ones he's got in are the opal ones. So hopefully we'll be seeing some people with some opal pens getting them soon. Wobbly, hello from Minneapolis. Hope the old Metropolitan makes an appearance. My go-to. Yeah, I've got the Metropolitan inked up at the moment. I might use it later on in April. I've actually been using it a couple of videos lately as an inked up pen, not just as a size comparison. I'm just trying to make sure my eyes are looking at the camera and that everything's there. So yeah, the Metropolitan. The only thing I don't like about a Metropolitan, it's something I can fix. It's the nib that I've got in it. The nib I've got in it is a fine. And my nib choice is now, as I keep saying, is now more broad. So I think I may see if I can get another one with a different nib. Simply Orbs. Hi there, Gary. Welcome to you. Hey there. Hey all. Sorry. Blonde Scales 1. Just Turnings also has a YouTube channel where he shows turning a pen. I found it by accident. Yeah, it's well worth watching. I found it really interesting. You know, when you can see the skill that goes into it, it's really quite amazing. Margaret Marshall, I have my first Jinao 82 on order. Yeah, the ones I've got, that was my first one. It was gifted to me as part of Inkvent by my wife. She's already collecting a load of stuff for this year, so hopefully there'll be another Inkvent calendar. If not, what we'll do is like what Mike Matheson he did a few years ago, Inkdependence, where his wife picked as some of the inks. But we will be doing an Inkvent this year, very similar format. I love doing that. It's really nice. And my wife, because as part of that, she gives me a gift every day. So she loves collecting the gifts. I know she's got a drawer full of them. And yes, I am good. I don't go peeking in. Ricardo, is anyone looking forward to buying the new Kaweco Piston Sport? I have a pre-order for it with Cult Pens. I certainly don't intend to buy that model. Yeah, it's black. Doesn't really do much for me. Oh, sorry. And the other thing that I'm a bit concerned is the price. I think it's fairly expensive for what it is. But I'm not sure. I think if they come out with a nice green, I may look at getting one of those. But yeah, at the moment, I'm not. Blonde Scales 1. Not sure how I feel about my Piston Sport. ODE. I've been using my Kaweco piston a lot today, and I like it more than I expected. So yeah, that's the thing which I think will be interesting is, as people start getting in their hands, what they actually feel about it. I like the idea. I don't have a metal sport. I've only got the plastic one. So yeah, I'm in two minds. Ricardo, may I ask about the weight? Is it noticeably heavier than the standard AL Sport? El Baracco 81. I love the look of the piston sport. I saw ODE on the Apple Boom podcast. They had some nice coverage with the owner of Kaweco. Yeah, I think that's good that they seem to be really trying to push it at the moment, which is good. BJ, after my brass sport, I think I'm set on sports. Blonde Scales 1. I've got to start thinking about what ink to put in my new pen when I get it. Yeah, always a bit of a challenge, that, isn't it? Especially, it depends. If where you do like me, where I try to do like matching, that to me seems a bit harder sometimes. I need to get my mind around. I know it's a mindset thing about not worrying about matching the pen colour to the ink, but my mind always says it should match, because then if you pick up a green pen, you've got green ink. Ricardo to ODE, I've got a soft spot for piston fillers. Saying that, I also like the convenience and easier to clean of a cartridge converter pen. This is one of the things that I look for with piston fillers now, how easy it is to take out the nib unit, because if you take that nib unit out, or if you actually disconnect the section, it makes it dead easy to clean that piston filler. Yes, you've still got to worry about the piston maintenance, but that's maybe once a year, once every couple of years, depending how often you use it. Aries, good day, mate. Albarak 81. I'm going to go back to when we first moved here. We set up a little bingo board with my wife of all the things that we'd heard that Australians say, and we were ticking them off as people would say them to us in general conversation, and a little bit of a behind the scenes thing there. Albarak 81. I've been practicing Palmer method cursive with my pens. I have a love-hate relationship with my Conklin word gauge with Omniflex nib. Cursive is something, it wasn't really taught when I was at school, so it's never really been something that we've had to use. Whenever I try to do it, I can't even read what I write, so how anybody else could. So it's not really something I bother with. As you can see from a lot of my videos, I do more print rather than cursive. Blonde Scales 1. Oh yes, the Opal is what I'm waiting on. I was pretty fast ordering when I saw he has the blanks. I bet you were. I bet they go quite quickly. That'd be interesting how long he has them in stock. Teresa Harris. I've got a calligraphy nib in my Metropolitan. I think Jet Pens is the only retailer that offers it. Yeah, I say I want to get something wider. Just not sure. I may try experimenting, because the nib on the Metropolitan, just by eye, looks very similar in size to a Kaweco nib. And I'm toying with the idea. I've got a Kaweco nib in my Parker Jotter. I'm just toying with to see if I can pull the nib out of the Metropolitan and put a Kaweco nib in there, because that Kaweco nib's a double broad, and see how that goes. I say just something I'm playing around with in my head at the moment. Want to use the current fill though before I think about doing that. Blonde Scales 1. I did not need to hear that. Teresa Harris. I thought of you when I saw that Stephen had the Opal blanks restocked. Yeah, I've got to be honest, that did pop into my head at the time. ODE to Ricardo, 23 grams. The regular AL Sport without a clip is 21 grams. So not much of a difference there, which is quite good to hear. Ricardo, thank you. Not much of a difference, yes. Same thought, thinking lines. Andreas, hello everyone from hot and humid Malaysia. Wow, I bet it is. Margaret Marshall, I'm an ink matching novice. I just started buying pens and new inks. I had one fountain pen with black for a long time. I get some great ideas from YouTube. I do. I think YouTube can be so dangerous at times, can't it? You go on there and it's like, oh, that's pretty, I better get that. That's pretty. I better get that. I've got a massive to buy list. I actually went through the other day and I cut down a lot of stuff because I was thinking, nah, let's take that off, just to get down to an essential set that I want to buy. But even then, it's still fairly long. Let's refresh the comments. So that's all the comments. Let's pull up the presentation and run that, and then we'll go to the screen. Oh, hang on a minute, we'll go back to the camera. Gary's left the comment on the screen again. There we go. Let's now go back to the screen. So last week's videos, Sunday, that was my March inked pens. Good thing with that one, all those pens that had next to no ink that I ended up putting to be washed out. That's one of the things I like about doing that March inked pens. It was something I used to do anyway, about the middle of each month. And then when I started doing the videos, I thought, yeah, actually, this is quite interesting, this. Or I certainly think it is. Tuesday, that was my Jinhao 82 first impressions. I say, like the pen, bit small and thin. Expected that, so I'm not overly worried. Let me get rid of my photo overlay because it's covering up some words. I'll fetch that. No, that was the wrong one. There we go. I'll fetch that back in a minute. Friday the 22nd, that was cheap Japanese pens. Absolutely gobsmacked by this one. This video has performed better than I had really thought. One of my best performing videos for a long time, I will be honest there. One pen that I have had a couple of comments on, not so much on YouTube, but on Mastodon. So on socials, I'm on Instagram, I'm on X or Twitter, I'm on Mastodon, and what's the other one? I'm on TikTok and Facebook. But on Mastodon, is somebody commented saying with the, which one was it? The Namisu, that's a Chinese pen. And it's one of these ones I've really struggled to be able to confirm one way or the other. So I bought it from AliExpress. So originally I thought it was Chinese. When I did my first impressions, I had a number of people saying, no, it's not Chinese, it's Japanese. So I updated my database to say, right, this is a Japanese pen. But then the comment I had on Mastodon was also saying that it's a Chinese pen. And when you dig into it, it's very, very difficult to actually work out what it is. So that was something interesting. And then yesterday over on my Tricky Little Questions channel, that was Photo Quiz Day. Wrong button. There we go. Let's get this going. So, videos upcoming. Today's video, so coming out 2 p.m. my time, is Sailor. Do you know the word sailor looks wrong? I don't think it is, but it looks like I spelt it wrong. But I haven't. I don't know. Amazing how these little things can catch you. Anyway, the Sailor Pro Gear Slim versus the Pilot E95S. Two pens very similar in size. Interesting video to do. On Tuesday, I'm taking my first impressions of an Apica paper. I should have got it out of the drawer. Here we go. Here's the Apica. He says, here's the Apica paper. Very small notebook, A5. So coming up this afternoon, I'll give you my first impressions on that. On Friday, I've got my wrap-up video for the month. So that's looking at how I got on during Aussie month. In there, I'll be ranking the 6 pens that I started the month with. Very tough ranking this month. Every single one, and I know I quite often say this, but every single one of them should have won. It was such a hard month. And I'm literally differentiating by things like, is this one a little bit bigger than the other? That's the level of differentiation I've had to go to. Then on Saturday, over on Tricky Little Questions, given that it's nearly the 1st of April, what I've done is taken a little bit of a look at the history of April Fool's Day and trying to investigate how it came about and how a lot of the traditions of April Fool's Day came about. Very interesting one to look at. Book of the week. I can add my photo. I can add the camera back in now. Book of the week. Oh no, wrong button. I don't know. Technology. Book of the week. So I'm still reading Phantom by Terry Goodkind. I've got about 120 pages to go, so I'll get that finished this week. Really enjoying this one. This is one where I've been finding it hard to put down some evenings. I had to put it down because obviously I need to get some sleep. Really enjoying it. The story is a lot faster paced. There's a lot going on. And a lot of the storylines from the past few books, they've been coming together and really starting to see where it's going. So yeah, really enjoyed that. So that's where I am with my book of the week. Let me just close down Keynote. And we'll go back. Blonde Scales 1. Price stops me from buying a lot of the pretties. Yeah, I have that same problem. I say I've been saving my money, so I've got about 280 Aussie dollars now. So I'm looking for my next pen. So thinking about another Aussie made pen. Not sure though. We'll have to see. A lot of what I'm using now to really determine is, do I have a pen that's like it? Do I like the looks of the pen? Like a lot of these handmade pens, you're talking about a Yoho or a bottle nib. So in that respect, it's not too bad. I did see a pen yesterday that I really was thinking to myself, oh, should I? It's a Ranga pen, and it's aluminium. And it was on the email that came out last night for the current group buy that they do. I really like the look of it. But it doesn't fit in with my theme of, at the moment, that I've got of Australian pens. But I really like the look of it, and I'm so tempted. It'll work out a couple of $100. So I've got the budget for it. And I haven't bought a Ranga for quite a while. Be about, what month are we? It'd be about 15 months. So, it's something, I don't know, I'm ever so tempted by it. But I say, I don't know, I also want an Australian pen. It's hard to decide. Tom Morley, I've been using B7 paper, a Japanese paper that's new to me. Interesting. So I'll make a note of that, B7 paper. Paper choices here in Australia are very limited. It's very difficult. I really like Oxford Optic paper, but you can only buy it over here in A4 or B5. You can't get it in A5, and I do like A5 notebooks. The paper that I use, here's the book. This is what I use for my pens and use. This is a B5 and this is Oxford note paper. I say I can either buy this or I can buy A4, which is a shame. Get Rhodia all over. Clairefontaine is a little bit harder to get. I do find though with Clairefontaine paper, I stopped using it because I found that virtually every pen, I would get a lot of skipping with it. I think it's because maybe the coating on it. Ayush paper, I've got an A4 Ayush notepad. Again, quite difficult to get. You've got to really buy it. There is one company, I don't know if they still do it, over here in Australia, which used to do Ayush paper. Either that or you buy it from Ayush, but then you're talking like a lot of money. Here's an idea for a company in India. Maybe if someone could set this up, like a central clearinghouse thing, where you can go to them, you can order paper from Ayush, a pen from Ranga, and rather than them two companies sending it to you, it comes through this one company, they fetch them in and then send it out. That might be an idea. That would certainly be worthwhile thinking about, and unfortunately I'm not in India. But certainly that's something I would use, because that's the downside. It's the postage from India. But if you can combine a number of purchases in one, and especially if you get it from different companies, would be really, really useful. Andreas, I was sorely tempted this week by the new sparkly blue Diplomat Aero shown by Drew on Goulet Pens. First pretty pen I've seen in months. The one I was tempted by was, I don't know if it was him or if it was Tom Otto, might have been them both, is the new Visconti Mirage Poseidon. I really like the look of that one. I checked Colt Pens, they don't have it. That might be one I might save for because it's about $400 and odd Aussie dollars. But if it comes out, I don't know. I like the look of it. I do like my other Visconti pens as well. Although I've got to be honest, I do think Visconti can be a bit overpriced. Margaret, do you ever match pens to paper? Not really. Like here, this is my scrap notebook here. Cheapo paper. This was by a company called Typo, which is an Australian company. It's 10 Aussie dollars. Performs not too badly, so I've got writing on this side. You see, this is the sort of thing I use it for, is just, rough notes that I'm doing. And it does bleed through quite a bit. But for what I'm using it for, I don't really care. The notepad I'm using, I don't really care that much. What I more do is I tend to match notepads to use cases. So, like, for these videos here, I use my Midori cotton pad. That's what I use for these. For pens in use, I've shown that. This is a cheaper notebook that I've got here. This is for taking my notes for when I'm doing my research for videos. Not for my tricky little questions videos. I've got, he says, pulling out. These are they're actually aimed at kids. They're dirt cheap. A4 size. I've got some smaller ones, but I tend to get A4. You can see that I was doing some ink tests. But these are what I use for projects. So I have one of these for each project I'm working on. Like doing that because everything's together. I used to try having one notebook where I was covering everything, but everything would get mixed up. And I found that was not working well with my brain. So by having these, they're dead light, so I can carry a number of them around. And, because that's on my shelf, I haven't labelled it. Normally I would put a label on the front for the project. But I just have one per project, and I find it works really, really well. Mr. Inky Fingers. Oh, I love that handle, Mr. Inky Fingers. I've got a little bit of ink on one finger at the moment. Hey from snowy Michigan, welcome to you. Teresa, I dread April Fool's Day because of all the corny jokes and pranks. Yeah, I mean, I often say to people, never believe anything you see on the internet, and especially on the 1st of April. I'm now onto my juice. So we've got Star Wars here, we've got R2-D2, and this is just, I think it's apple and raspberry. All tastes the same to me, to be honest. It's full of ice, so it keeps it nice and cool. Blonde Scales 1, just turnings would be the most I've spent on a single pen. Yeah, I will be honest, my just turning pens, I think they're worth it, really do. When you consider the craftsmanship that goes into it, it's handmade. Because of the way the blanks are made, each one's near enough unique. So no one in the world is going to have a pen like yours. I think it really is worth it. Alberac 81 Metropolitan nibs are interchangeable to several pilot pens, the Pereira, 78G, Kakuna and the Explorer. The calligraphy nib is a 1mm stub called CM, or on the 78G a broad nib. Oh, cool, thanks for that. I shall make a note of that one. Just make a note to come back and get the details before I close the chat down later on. Blonde Scales 1, yeah, the most spent so far. Yeah, for me, as I say, I've got a number of expensive pens, but I do really like these Just Turn-ins pens. Well, I like all my Australian handmade pens. Anita ordered the first yellow pen, the Conkling Herringbone. Oh, that sounds interesting. Whoops, press the wrong button. Blonde Scales 1. I think both showed that pen. Yeah, I think they did. I just like the look of it. It looks really nice. And it's not green, which is unusual for me. One Mr. Goodman, $400 Aussie dollars for that new Visconti. When you're ready for it, I'd be happy to act as a carrier for you here from the States if it would help. It's roughly 159 USD here. Yeah, the problem that we've got at the moment is the Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar is so weak. So 159, that when I last checked, which was a couple of days ago, on something from the States, I was getting something like $1 is 2 Aussie dollars. Really is a rip-off. This is why I haven't bought a lot from anywhere, to be honest, other than Australia. But yeah, no, thank you for that offer. I may take you up on it at some time, because it's the postage from America. You know, when you go through these stores, it is atrocious. And I say with the exchange rate, it makes it absolutely ridiculous to buy stuff. Mr. Inky Fingers, I did get my pen from Just Turn-ins, and it posts. Also, I know that I think it was yourself, or it might have been somebody else, was saying that they contacted him and he can make an adjustment. He did a great job. The Force Awakens blank, a beauty. Wow, I love the name of that, The Force Awakens. Is it Mick Lampard did a review of that a while ago? Sorry, having to keep drinking today. Ted Smith, other than keeping a single cart, how do you keep up with what pens you want to buy next? So I'm going to swap over to my iPhone again in a second. I've just had to take it out of the holder. Let me get this up. And then I need to go through over here because it's not on my shortcuts. So this is actually on my iPhone, and this is my app. So this is an app that I've written for managing my fountain pen collection and my ink collection. As you can see there, these are all my inked pens. But as part of this, along the bottom, the third icon is to buy. So this is where I keep a list of pens that I want to buy. Now this is the next version. This isn't the version that's currently on the App Store. But what I've got here is by manufacturer, so all the things I'd like to get. But I can break that down, so I can say, right, just show me the pens. So, you know, there's an Admoc, Asvine, Aurora. The prices are rough prices when I saw it, so they may not be true now. You know, like Diplomat Excellence, Lamy. So I just literally keep adding and adding things here. And then eventually what I'll do is when I see something I like, you know, if I've bought it already, I can come in here, I can actually mark it as bought, and it then creates an entry for me. You know, I can go and look at details. We've got loads of Pen BBS ones there. So, you know, maybe the Pilot 743, I can go in there. And then very basic details that I put in, you know, what it's a pen, it's a Pilot pen, it's custom 743, where I want to get it from, so I can put in the name of the shop, you know, and then a rough cost, you know, let's say 490, I don't know how much it costs, and save that, and then that updates for me. So hopefully that answers that question. Tom Morley, I've just checked 100 US is about 154 AUD, so that's not as bad as what I saw the other week. When I saw it the other week, I thought, what? That could have been just the site I used. Just Turn-ins was 250 Aussie dollars, shipping included, 148.59 USD with shipping. That's not too bad. So yeah, that's coming back very similar to what Tom was quoting. Let's refresh again. So we've got no new comments at the moment. So, thank you all. Well, we've been going for an hour. For once, we got it down to about an hour. Last week, I got such a telling off from my wife because I went so long. Thank you all for your time. Love doing this. Love chatting with you all. This interaction, going through the comments, is what I really love. And I throw in the other segments, but that's just to, so we've got a little bit of structure. I love structure in my videos. So thank you, everybody, for your time. I'm just going to check. I've got another comment come in. My just turned his pen was 146 USD. You can't buy a hand-turned pen in the US for that. At pen shows they're about 200 to 220. Yeah, I've also looked at hand-turned pens from the UK, and they're roughly in that same as the US. One of the companies I do like the look of, I think the Canadian, is the I think it's London or something like that. London Pen Co. Very, very nice looking pens. I saw them on Penultimate Dave. There's something I am looking at. Blonde Scales won, but we had such fun last week. We did. That's why it went so long. Last week's chat was just going off. It really was. Aries, thank you, Gary Eves. Blonde Scale 1, have a great week all. BJ, thank you for bringing us together. No, thank you all for coming. Without you, I wouldn't be here. One Mr. Gunman, cheers. BJ, everyone. Margaret, thank you, Gary. Andreas, have a great week all. I'll do one last refresh. Ted Smith, thanks, Gary. So whilst the outro is playing, I will leave the comments open, so there'll still be a little bit of time to chat in the live chat. Thank you all. Please hit the thumbs up button every time you like, every time you comment. Just helps with the YouTube algorithm. Love comments. Every time you comment really does help. Memberships available. If you're able to help support the channel, that would be very greatly appreciated. Ricardo, have a great week, everybody. Teresa, enjoyed it. ODE, bye. And let's do another refresh. So thank you all, and I'll talk to you again soon.